So Carolyn asks a good question about the difference between shape and form. Is there a difference besides the fact that form is understood to include depth? So this is something very subtle, and it involves kind of the fluidity of language. So I think some examples would help. So if you look at the way Marilyn Stockstead and Michael Cothran, the authors of Art History, how they put it, they say, referring to purely visual aspects of art and architecture, the term form encompasses qualities of line, of shape, of color. So form becomes an umbrella term for all of the visual elements that come together to give the artwork its distinctive presence, its particular qualities. And Kate pinpointed this really effectively. She wrote, form is essentially like the main category, and line, a specific element of form, is a subcategory. So this came up in more than one discussion group. So applying this to a work of architecture like Le Corbusier's Notre de Haute, a cathedral of Our Lady in the city of Haute, you see lots of shapes, right? So you have the rectangular shape of this cement vertical beam, and you see the triangle shape of the roof and the way it curves, and you see the various cylindrical shapes and forms. Okay, so we could call them shapes when we look at kind of the flat side, but then we use forms for depths. It's got a cubic quality, right? Because if we look at it in depth, it's not just a rectangle. It actually has a cubic side and a side. This isn't just a circle or a curve. It's actually a cylinder. This curves as well. So all of these evoke shapes for us, like a triangle, like rectangles. But the forms themselves are more multidimensional, more three-dimensional than just a simple shape. And the overall form of the cathedral is a very complicated interplay of all of those shapes and forms, the lines created from the edge of this rectangle, along with the lines created from the sweep of the rooftop. So we can speak of the overall form as the configuration, the bringing together of all of those elements. Moving from architecture to a two-dimensional artwork by Henri Matisse, this marvelous creation is a mixture of paint, that's gouache is a kind of paint, water-based paint, paper, and cut and pasted paper elements. So it's a collage. And we can look at it in terms of color, but we're focusing right now on shapes. So we have these cutout shapes that are squares or rectangles stacked around, and then we have organic shapes that evoke what it's called les bêtes de la mer, the beasts of the sea. So there's lots of curving shapes and lots of feelings of little tails and possibly a form resembling a fish, right, or resembling various seaweed. So although each of these individual pieces are a distinct shape, form as an umbrella term talks about all the elements that Matisse put together in order to create this particular work with its distinctive character and its specific identity. All the elements that he chose to arrange in a specific way, we can say that he chose to form this artwork in order to create this feeling of beasts of the sea.